here, and how can I develop a relationship with myself and what I am doing here. And some of these techniques just allow us to develop a little bit of a deeper relationship with ourselves. And so I just really encourage people to be a little bit more curious about yourself and your own story.
I think you just hit it on the head, that connecting to yourself. I think that's why I'm so drawn to psychedelic medicines, is that connection and kind of like rediscovering an old friend with, you can kind of wash away some of the walls you put up, and see, how disconnected you are from yourself, and the ability to get back to that connection. So I can definitely relate with what you just said. You had just mentioned, some really good resources, and I think your podcast is a great resource, especially for people like myself who are more listeners than readers. So if someone is just listening to this podcast and finding out about Psychedelics Today for the first time, give us like 3 or 5 of your favorite podcasts that you've had with guests and, you suggest people should go listen to.
Ooh, that's a tough question. Man, I'm going to have to just browse my archive really quick. Let's see. I actually really liked a few episodes recently that we put out. This is in the Breaking Convention series on our site. One was with Dr. David Luke, where we talked about transpersonal and eco-psychology, so talking about these transpersonal states, why they're important, and kind of navigating some of that. Another one with a doctor named Sam Gandy, and talking about psychedelics and our connection with nature. And so, connecting with ourselves, also connecting with nature. We kind of get into a little bit about, technology and how, that can also really connect us, but also disconnect us at the same time. Another recent episode that I really enjoyed I enjoyed all of them for anybody that was on our show, maybe listening. Ito Cohen, Dr. Ito Cohen, and this one was about integration. So if anybody's really interested in integration and what does it mean to move these experiences forward, I really enjoyed that chat with Dr. Cohen, because that's obviously been a huge topic. If anybody's actually interested in ketamine research and ketamine therapy, we had some really great conversations with Dr. Raquel Bennett and Veronica Gold. Veronica Gold, I get into talking about the different methods of ketamine-assisted therapy, the difference between IV therapy versus the ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. So if anybody's actually, ketamine's available right now, I might be interested in that. Our episode with Veronica Gold's actually a really great conversation. And if you want to get really weird, and if you've had, say, a DMT experience and want to get, kind of metaphysical, Dr. Andrew Gallimore the episode's called Accessing High Dimensional Intelligence Through DMT. And so that one gets a little strange about entities and whatnot. So it's, I don't know. There's a lot more I could name off. I think the awesome thing about doing this is just getting to that with really interesting people.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, we've been listening for a while, and now to have you on is pretty awesome, just through the powers of social media, what you can do just by putting things out there and connecting and educating people. Quick little side note, we were at a Rise Festival on Sunday, and it started to get dark, and we were with Drew McManus from Satsang, and he's like, now is the time when it starts to get weird. He's like, can you smell them? He's like, can you smell the mothballs? And I was like... And so I smelt it, and instantly there's something in that smell that, come to find out, is vape DMT. But there was something in that smell, that sensory triggered what, I don't know if I smelt it during my ayahuasca ceremonies but it was almost like an instant connection. As soon as he said that it was vape DMT, it like brought my mind back into ceremony, and something very weird, because I've never had DMT other than through ayahuasca, so there was no association with it or connection to it or experience to it. But like as soon as he said that and I smelt it, it was like boom.
Boom!
I was back in Peru.
Yeah, it's an interesting smell. A lot of it at Schwangel when I was out there at Red Rocks in May. I could not believe just the smell of mothballs. I think overpowered the cannabis smell.
It's crazy,
like,
right?
Oh my god! Yeah, I was like, oh my god! I did not expect this much DMT at a show.
No, we were walking back to we were walking back to our car to leave, and I turned to my brother and I said, "Are there really that many people vaping DMT right now?"
Yeah, this is why we're kind of also in the harm reduction space of like, is this the best place to do that?
No.
Maybe, but I mean, I saw people sitting down on the ground, maybe having bad experiences, and I think there definitely needs to be a lot of education in that space as well.
Yeah, you can't be messing it up for the rest of us. Well, Kyle, we really appreciate you coming on today and giving us your time. We're very grateful and appreciate you. Other than Psychedelics Today, the other your site is Setting Sun Wellness, correct?
Yeah, settingsunwellness.com. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff for both Psychedelics Today and Setting Sun. So yeah, you can check me out there.
Cool. We will put all that stuff in the show notes for you as well. And like I said, we really appreciate you coming on. If there's anything else you want to put out there real quick, go for it. But otherwise, thank you very much from the Airey brothers. We really appreciate your time, your knowledge, and the education that you're putting out there for everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you for the invitation and for inviting me on, and also being a listener and supporter of Psychedelics Today. So I really appreciate this opportunity and to get to chat with you both. So thanks so much.
Cool. Thank you very much, Kyle. You have a good rest of your day.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Take
you
care.
too. You guys too.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Yo.
That
was amazing.
Dude, that was great. And, just to kind of start it with the breath work, kind of show the segue of breath work into psychedelics and kind of get hip to the holotropic breath work, because that's something I've always been interested in. And
the book's at the house, bro.
The book's at the house. Every time I feel like I just need to go to a clinician or someone who does that.
I got those
practice.
too. I've been to them here in Denver. They put them on. It's not holotropic, but it's very similar, hyperventilation type practices. And yeah, I mean, whether Wim Hof says it, Simon Rex says it, Troy Casey says it, you can get high on your own supply. And I always, watching Troy Casey do it and seeing him kind of like convulse a little bit or like fall forward, I just was kind of like, all right, you're just trying to sell it. But after a couple sessions of doing that, you can really go to some outer place spaces, which is pretty amazing, without any medicine, psychedelics, whatever you want to call them. That's cool that we tapped into that and talked about that. And that's a great gateway. I was joking saying that it was a gateway drug, but
it is, though.
It's I think for someone like maybe like Lorraine or the sisters, where I pull out a vial, they're gonna freak out and do their thing, whereas we might be able to get them to sit in a circle and get them to hyperventilate, and they might think that's a little too woo-woo too, but it's a way to, in addition to like Michael Pollan's book, which I think we've seen, just introducing her to Graham Hancock, and not just with her but other people who I've come in contact with, that the topic comes up or is approached because of something they've seen with us or on my profile, and then they're like, oh, I just read Michael Pollan's book. Can we talk more about this? So, man, just blown away by the guests that we've been having on here. It's the beat goes on and the cream is rising to the top. So we got another one we got to prep for here in a little bit coming in. I'm super stoked for this next one, and not that super stoked to have Kyle on, just the education. I think it's the more education we can put out there, the better.
Well, and I just think being able to talk to people like that too, because obviously this space is something that we are very interested in. This is a space that, you know, I wouldn't say devote our lives to, but it has a big part of who we are. So when we can talk to people who are educated on it, who are talking to the people in the fields and get the knowledge and give it back to the Dog Pound, give it back to the Airey Bros Radio's fans, you know, that's why we're doing this, right? To kind of show people what we're about and educate them on the fact that we're not just out here tripping out. It's more of a personal connection.
Exactly. That's what I was going to add on to that, is that it isn't just us, oh, you guys just like to be fucked up or whatever. No, there's work that's being done here, and it's not a daily thing. It's not sometimes even something that goes on.
Not even monthly.
In a weekly or monthly sometimes, but and it's definitely not just getting blasted and trying to go around and function throughout your day. Everything is with an intention and with a purpose, and I think that's the biggest thing, whether it's, you know, the daily challenge, whether it's before you eat your meal, you know, the hydration that you put in your body in the morning, like everything, as we've talked, and it keeps reoccurring, is like that intention or that daily practice and putting purpose behind everything you're doing. And, you know, just like there's a purpose to why I might only eat plants on certain days, there's a purpose to why I might, and an intention behind why I may take a psychedelic and go run the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, and I also think as we talk to these different influencers on different platforms, it all goes back to everyone's kind of saying the same thing. Everyone has a daily practice. Everyone is putting some sort of intention or some sort of prayer out there before they do things that help them connect. And it might be in different platforms in different areas, but it's all the same thing, that, you know, these high performers or these people who are at the top of their industry, they're all kind of doing the same things, and it's interesting to hear.
It's interesting to hear, and it's, at the end of the day, it comes back to getting reconnected with your body and who you are and the human experience, and remembering that you are your own science experiment each and every single day. And everything that you put into your body or come in contact with has an effect on that human experience, whether it's staring at a screen all day, whether it's looking at social media, whether it's drinking alcohol, you know,
eating gluten,
eating sugar. Like, those things are just as harmful, if not more harmful, than, say, taking a psychedelic on a Wednesday afternoon or a Tuesday morning to come in to do a podcast. You know, like,
why don't you share, bro?
I fucking shared yesterday out of the kindness of my heart.
You didn't tell me. I like to be on the same wavelength. You didn't tell me the wavelength. Maybe I got to run home real quick.
I mean, whatever, dude. I gave you stuff yesterday.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be the one on his own. I like to be on the same wavelength.
Yeah, you're always on your own.
No way. Dude, I don't. Listen,
Jimmy,
I don't like
way.
being on my own when I'm around you, because you make me feel like shit.
Jimmy, one way.
You the other day were on your own, and you were bragging and bragging.
I wasn't on my own.
You were with me, in the room with me. You were the only one. And if the tables were turned, the reception wouldn't have been as well received as I received you. So
because
sometimes you need to hold space for a prince. You don't hold space, bro.
Try to do things with an intention and purpose.
So
and sometimes you just like to be fucked up.
I'm getting better.
Right, I'm just saying, though.
Yeah, I know. And, you know, speaking to someone like Kyle and, you know, listening to all the information he has. And one thing about psychedelics, and, you know, I know you say I like being fucked up, but I feel like psychedelics, opposed to other things that I am deathly afraid of, is they kind of regulate themselves. I'm not saying that you can't go too deep and lose your shit.
It's like too much fish oil.
Yeah, dude, you're going to shit your pants, right? Like,
you do too much, you're going to shit your pants.
You take too much of a mushroom, not only are you going to shit your pants and throw up, you're going to be, like, thinking about shit you don't want to be thinking about when you're shitting your pants and throwing up. So that's the regulator for me, you know, and the regulator in, you know, your daily life of not wanting to be in those certain, even if it's a microdose, right? Like, certain places are just not meant for any kind of psychedelics, even if it is a microdose.
Set and setting is everything.
Absolutely.
Why you're getting blasted on DMT at a festival or at Red Rocks is beyond me.
And we got to step over you as we're trying to get to our car.
Dude, that was gnarly walking back to the car.
I just took control and just followed me, and then I started walking out. I kicked a couple people. I was like, oh no, I got to start looking at the ground.
Well, as I was saying, we needed headlight. I mean, we were so ill prepared, and I think we'll talk about this so we can add on to Drew's podcast. But yeah, I mean, we were definitely ill prepared to be at a festival, and I think there's a whole Festival 101 episode that needs